Welcome to the University of Findlay's Art and Culture Show. I am Sharinda Welton, your host, and we are excited to begin our second season of television interviews with amazing and accomplished artists. Tonight we are interviewing Mr. David Davis. David, welcome to the set.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate y'all bringing me out here.
We are excited to have you. Yeah. It's not very often that we can get a hold of someone that's all over the country from Los Angeles and say, hey, we love your music. Can you stop in and visit with us? So thank you for fitting us into your schedule.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
So let's talk about your music.
Sure.
You have an album that just came out last Friday. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What is the name of your album?
Yeah, it's called The Long and Short of It. It came out August 31st, which was last Friday. So it's been about 6 days. It's been out in the world and just right now receiving some great feedback from it and loving that people are connecting to it.
Good.
So.
Well, and I'm not surprised because I've had the honor of hearing you play and sing live, and man, you have that it factor that when the audience is there, they are engaged and they're locked in on you. It doesn't matter what else is happening. You've got that charisma plus the voice. It's awesome.
That's the goal. The goal is to sing for you and hope that you'll join me for the ride. So I'm glad you caught that.
So tell me about the genres that you enjoy singing. What is your focus? What is your intention?
So I grew up listening to a lot of old school Motown music, but also at the same time having a lot of those current themes and current melodies within my mind. So I'm really inspired by acts like Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye and Otis Redding, but also love modern acts like Ryan Tedder from One Republic and Bruno Mars and John Legend. So there's kind of this shaping that's a modern package with a classic sound. That's how I try to pursue and create my music that I do, by being affected by those people.
We see that when you dress for your concerts too.
Yes.
You are definitely a modern classic.
Sure.
You are one of those gentlemen that likes to put on a nice tailored suit and dress for the occasion.
Yep.
I am here mentally as well as physically, emotionally, spiritually. I am here for you.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I always say my dad puts on a suit to go to work every day, so I try to do the same thing when I've got a show.
That's awesome.
Put on the suit and get ready to get professional and get real and do your thing. So, yeah.
So with the different artists that you had the opportunity to enjoy and learn and love growing up, what part of the country did you grow up in?
I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, so
Okay.
a suburb just outside of there called Wheaton. But a lot of my family members are from the South, so my dad's from Knoxville, Tennessee, my mom's from Asheville, North Carolina. So I kind of spent a lot of my time down there as well as in Chicago. So bit Midwest, bit Southern, now a bit West Coast. I'm just taking residency wherever it'll take me. So, yeah.
So is that what led you to college in the South? Because you went to college in Tennessee.
Yeah. So
where did you go?
I went to Belmont University. I had known about it from a couple of friends that had gone there who went to my high school. So when I was looking at going down there, I saw that I was close enough to other family in Knoxville where I could get to family within 2 hours, but also had some family that were out in Nashville too. So it seemed like a good fit to both be able to get away from my hometown and try to experience somewhere else, but also have accessibility to family in case I needed anything.
Yeah,
so
and
felt like a good fit.
And you still went from hometown big town to a different style big town.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you feel that it was more transient in Nashville or Chicago, or did you never really think about it because of all the artists coming and going from both cities?
Yeah, so Chicago is a big city, period, whereas Nashville seems to be a small town in a big city.
Sure,
so
sure. And it's more spread out,
It's more spread
isn't
out.
It?
Yeah, so within my hometown of Wheaton, there's the Wheaton community, and that's really it. And then 30 minutes away, Chicago. So you get to know people within the community, but it's still pretty spread out. There's not that like Southern hospitality. There's the kind of the Midwest vibe. Whereas within Nashville, everybody knows each other with the music industry. Like people are transient and do move, but you generally get a sense of your gang of people that you hang out with and know different groups of people that kind of intermingle, and there's just more of that Southern hospitality of friendliness and everybody's family in Nashville.
Yeah.
So
then with that and with being at Vanderbilt, what was your major?
So I went to Belmont.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. All good, just clarifying.
Thank you.
I would love to claim Vanderbilt too. Vanderbilt's an amazing school. They have an awesome music program as well. My major was commercial voice with a minor in music business. So I got my degree, my bachelor's in music, but within that I was doing commercial music performance and studying copyright law and studying publishing and different aspects of the music business within itself.
So with that, did you have the opportunity to audition for commercials and for radio and things like that?
So I did a lot of background singing and a lot of writing for other artists when I was in Nashville, ranging from Christian and country acts that you'll know, and then other smaller projects that would go to commercial or TV for radio programs or for whatever specific brand it was for. So there's a lot of session work that happens out in Nashville where you can just hop into a booth one day and they're like, hey, you just sing this for 30 seconds, call it a day, like here's your check. And then you find out later that it's, in Europe and you receive payment from that. And it's really exciting. And being close to the city of Nashville and being within it, you have those opportunities a lot more because you're constantly there for school. So
Sure.
That's how it kind of started for me.
And so what made you decide to go in that emphasis, that major? Because there's a lot of different ways and genres and journeys that you can take with music.
Right.
So did you just wake up one day and say, I want to be in commercials?
Yeah. Well, commercial music, and this is actually a pretty common configuration. Commercial music really means a study of styles within the commercial range. So it's not for television commercials specifically. It's for studying songs and music that is commercially appealing.
Yes.
So popular for that.
Right.
So within commercial music, there are commercial songs that use for commercials for brands.
And that's a whole nother story.
And that's a whole other story. That's another area that I've had experience in. But my main intention was studying as many types of music as possible to figure out what specifically I wanted to do within it, because I've always been so attracted to all kinds of music and all sorts of performance, but that helped me study all of them my first 2 years and then narrow down to what I wanted to do specifically.
Do you find that with the passions and with the opportunities to have studied in so many different areas that you were representing yourself in a couple different ways at the beginning of this interview? Do you feel like some of it's kind of a fusion for you that has evolved into who you are as David Davis, the singer?
1,000%, yeah. So I grew up singing in church. That's how I got my start. And then I was doing choirs in high school, middle school, and elementary school, performance choirs and professional choirs that traveled around the world. And then I got to college, and I was singing backup for Christian artists and country artists. And always, again, had that inspiration of that old school sound and knowing what was classic. But I think from having experienced all those different genres, it gave me a sense of what songs feel like they're commercial and what songs feel like they're classic and what songs feel within my voice are going to really be something that lasts a long time because I was singing so much of that music. So after singing, Marvin Gaye 75,000 times, you're like, okay, I think I know what it feels like when I'm growing vocally towards that and what it's going to sound like and what's going to attract people in that way. And then once you kind of get that together, you kind of have to find yourself within there and say, who is actually speaking here? Not a copy of somebody else, but what's my story and what's my experience and how can I write the music that reflects that while being inspired by all of these different types of music and people.
And still be appealing that other people want to hear it.
Right, right. It's like kind of a mind game, but the goal is that you learn all the rules so you can break the rules. And once you've got, the training in and the understanding of what makes something iconic and classic, then you can kind of sit back and say, now how to make this David Davis and how do I let that influence it while not being a repackaging of something that's already happened. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally get that. And you can see when it's cookie cutter and when it's genuine.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
No, let's go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's music that I remember hearing when I was 3 or 4. It's not something at 21 in college where I was like, okay, I'm going to try and mimic this person. It was being 3 or 4 and being like, Mom, what is this? This is beautiful to me. This is fantastic to me. How can I possibly know more about it?
And one of the things that I loved before we came on set, we were chatting about some of our faves, and Sammy Davis Jr. is someone that you're familiar with. And I love that because
I love him.
so many times when we're talking with artists that are younger and up and coming, their tributes are to people maybe only 10 years older than them.
Sure.
And it's great. And, you know, Marvin Gaye is another one. It's awesome and so refreshing to hear that you've had the opportunity to hear some of these classics and be passionate about them before being exposed to them in a higher education experience.
Totally.
So, you know, we've been talking about your passion, and we've been talking about where you've come from. You know, this is maybe putting you on the spot a little bit, but would you be willing to sing a little something for us so that our viewers are able to get a taste of who David Davis is?
For sure. Well, if you want to get a full taste of anything of David Davis, you can go to Instagram.com/justdaviddavis. You can also find my full album at the same place. It'll take you to justdaviddavis.com, and it'll show you where all the music is. But here's a little something off of the album. It's the first single that came out. It's called Something a Little Mo Better, or Little Mo Better for short. And the song is about how you may have like an ex who's seeing somebody else, but they're still like sliding in your DMs and calling you and wanting to see what's up with you. And whenever that happens, you just gotta be like, oh, well, he came back for something a little more better. That's all right. So here's a little sample of that little chorus. So darling, when he ain't appealing, and you can't hide your feelings, oh, I'll be right where you left me. With something a little more better, something a little more better, something a little more better, something a little more ooh, something a little more better, something a little more ooh.
Okay, I want more. That's
well,
awesome.
You can find it online, and also check me out while I'm in the area. So
yeah, and I definitely will do both.
Perfect.
So the name of the album.
The long and short of it.
Tell us about it. Everybody has a story on why they name an album, what they name their album.
Sure. So like I said, going through years in the music industry and singing backup and touring with other artists and writing for other artists, I feel like a lot of that time was spent discovering my identity personally and professionally. And so there was a lot of material that I was a part of and that I was on, but none of it was me fully. And so when I made my debut album as a solo artist, I wanted something that was accumulation of who I am as a person. And so the first thing that came to me was like, when someone asks you who you are, you're like, well, the short of it or the long of it is, you know, depending on how much time you have, here is everything. Here's the long and short of who I am as a person. And then as I was crafting the album and picking songs, I realized that every up-tempo, funky, fun song had a corresponding ballad that was under the same kind of theme, and realized that those dual tracks were telling a story, and the up-tempos were like the short of the story. It was, you know, kind of the small glimpse of it. You're having fun, you're just focusing on like the surface level. And then the ballad that corresponds with it is really digging deep and talking about the truth of the matter and the authenticity and the vulnerability of what the other one was trying to say. So depending on your mood, sometimes you just want to like turn on the funk and have a good time and just kind of stay on the surface and jam. And then sometimes you just want to sit in your car and cry, you know, and listen to somebody that's telling you, you know, what you've been through as well, and talking and communicating in a way that's accessible to how you've had your experience. So on the album, there's 10 tracks and a bonus. So there's an up-tempo ballad, every single song has a corresponding fast and slow song. So the long and short of that story. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense, and I'm looking forward to listening to it. And you know, sometimes when we know the background, it makes it even easier to listen and follow and enjoy what the artist is giving us as their gift. So thank you for that explanation. That will make it a lot more fun to listen to.
Yeah, totally.
And you have a party coming up, a release party out in LA.
I have a release party on September 8th in downtown Los Angeles. sponsored by a couple companies out there, which will be fantastic to just get to like press play on the album and be with the creators of it with me and the fans and friends and family in LA. They're going to come out and just celebrate the experience with me.
And a lot of artists do that where they also connect it online where it goes live so that people, their fan base can, and will you have that?
I will.
How will people be able to touch base if they want to check in and be part of that party?
Yeah, I usually go live on Instagram, which again is instagram.com/justdaviddavis, JUST David Davis. And I'll probably be going live around 5:30 PST, which is 8:30.
Yeah, we're before
Eastern.
you. Yeah.
So I'll go live there, and then I'll share that live video after the party. But I'll be doing about 40 minutes of playing the album over the speakers in the facility called Shoo Shoo Baby in Los Angeles, a great classic bar downtown. And then I'll do maybe 3 or 4 songs at the piano with my backup singers and cellist. So
awesome.
I'm excited. It's going to be a really fun night. 2 days. 2 days to get it all together. Everything's gone pretty smoothly so far, so I'm excited.
That's very exciting news.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming in and sharing some of your talent, sharing some of your story with us. It's always fun to get the behind the scenes and then to follow an artist as they continue to grow. And the only way you have is to go up. You just are a dynamic personality, spirit, and artist. And you practice what you preach. You surround yourself with wonderful people that are able to get those ends tightened and keep you moving. And so you're on your way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me today, Sharinda.
You are very welcome. And we thank you for joining us for our first segment of this year's UF Art and Culture Television. We look forward to seeing you the next time.